the lesbian counselor all the time, as he would say. You know, I could maybe be the fun girlfriend. And I learned the hard way that that was not happening.
So what happened?
Well, we took MDMA. I took a capsule. It's like a powder in a capsule. I took a capsule, and Johnny took several. I didn't count, but you know, it's very different when you see someone take one versus a handful of something. But nothing that seemed to set any alarm bells off, and things were going fine until the flight attendant got involved. The flight attendant came by, was engaging with us. I don't think that they're really, it felt like it was before the effects of the drug took over. It was relatively quick, soon after we first took our dose, if you can say. And the flight attendant, Johnny offered her some. She, of course, said no. And then after some back and forth between them, Johnny convinced her that it would be fine. So she acquiesced and took MDMA with us. And within, you know, a few minutes go by, and the same thing happened that happened on the mushrooms at Hicksville with the woman, Kelly Sue, who I've told you about. Flight attendant got friendly with me, but just friendly, just like MDMA friendly, you know, was kind of, I'm a woman, he's a man, so she was naturally, I think, more comfortable with me physically. She kind of leaned into me and kind of sat on the arm of the chair I was sitting in. I mean, after all, she's on drugs, and Johnny grabs her hand and tells her not to touch me, and she kind of reacts in a way like, you know, like she's defending herself and was trying to clarify. And he grabbed her by the wrist and slammed it down on the table and told her he could break her wrist. And I remember thinking, I've heard this before. And that was a pattern that would repeat itself a few times. These things would happen in these kind of cycles where there'd be a certain element that would get filtered for a while, whether it's an accusation or a gesture, and that would be the thing that he looped on. I called it loops. And he grabs her wrist and he tells her he could break her wrist. She cries instantly, denies it, is so apologetic. Eventually he lets go. She goes to the front of the plane where the flight attendant, you know, normally hangs out, and the doors close, and I don't see her much of that whole flight. We land in Russia, and I don't really remember, you know, I don't recall any violence on the plane between Johnny and I, but I remember feeling this tension because I was wondering when it was gonna aim at me. Because he had this particular thing about, well, at the time I understood he had a particular thing, a sensitivity about me and women, because I had a female partner. So I was feeling nervous, anxious, and I remember we had a very quiet ride, at least I didn't say anything, to the hotel. And almost as soon as we get into the hotel room, Johnny's accusing me of effectively having engaged that, caused that. I, of course, deny it, point out what I thought was obvious, that, you know, like we'd given her drugs, you know, wasn't an affair, wasn't, you know, and I'm trying to argue and defend myself at the same time. And at one point, Johnny just shoves me, like, I mean, just shoves me hard. And I fall back onto this glass table. I catch myself on the table. I don't know how some furniture got knocked around. There was I'm trying to stand up for myself. I'm trying to stand up, literally. I'm not, you know, at this point, I don't even try to hit back or try to run. I'm in this hotel room trying to do my best to fight mostly the verbal accusations, but also I try to stay on my feet, you know. At some point, Johnny whacks me in the face, and I don't remember feeling pain or like awareness of my nose or anything. I don't remember thinking that. I remember kind of crying and feeling, I went into the bathroom and I wanted him to have I just remember wanting him to realize what had happened. I wanted him to kind of snap out of it. I wanted him to care. I wanted him to realize what was going on, because a big part of this, I felt like he wasn't aware. There was this sense that he didn't know what was going on. You know, again, I don't know how much of the drugs or alcohol is a part of this, but I remember crying. I came out at some point because I don't hear him in that room. I remember we had been arguing in the main room, but I went out to the hallway, which is where I presume he walked out, and his bodyguard, Jerry Judge, was in the hall. And I don't recall seeing Johnny in the hallway, but I remember seeing Jerry Judge, who gestured to my nose.
Objection, hearsay.
She's just saying gesture. He hasn't said anything yet.
All right, gesture's fine. I'll overrule the objection.
He gestures to my nose and holds out his handkerchief, like a cloth handkerchief. And I instantly felt really embarrassed. I felt ashamed. I don't know how else to describe it. I just felt like just really embarrassing. And I went inside the room.
What, if any, injury did you have?
I had a little blood coming out of my nose. I didn't know it. I didn't feel it at the time until Jerry Jerry let me know.
Okay.
And I went inside the hotel room, and it, as embarrassing as it is, I remember just wanting Johnny to say sorry. I wanted him to realize it. It's so stupid, but like the emotional part, you know, I just wanted him to acknowledge that this was, that he could hurt me, you know, and I wanted it to be okay. I didn't want him to think I was interested in this flight attendant. I didn't want him to think that I would capable of cheating on him. I was in love with him. I just wanted things to be okay.
Let's take you to July 9, 2013. Did there come a time that you went for a ride you went to the Bahamas and went on a ride for the yacht with Johnny and his kids?
Well, it's less like we flew out to the Bahamas to his island. He was selling the yacht to J.K. Rowling, and he wanted to kind of have a goodbye trip on the yacht. So it was docked off the island, and I went with him and his kids, who I had quickly developed a bond with and loved. And we brought a friend along with us, I think, to kind of help. And yeah.
Okay. Tell the jury what happened on that trip.